or do it. Well, you know what I did is I went on top of my. Well, it's not. I mean, but it's not like you're building a huge house. You're building a what, like a little studio or something. What are you going to look at? Oh. So what I did is, so um, mine was going to cantilever over the. So
Order the council meeting of October 4th, 2022. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, and Housing Authority.
All right, before we start the meeting, a proclamation proclaiming October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas the Inglewood Unified School District has served over 7,600 students in the 21-22 school year and has a responsibility to promote the health and wellness of all students, staff, and family it serves. And whereas breast cancer remains the second most common form of cancer overall and the second cause of cancer death overall among American women, according to the American Cancer Society, and whereas although rare, men can be diagnosed with breast cancer. In 2022, an estimated 2,710 men will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer, and approximately 530 will die. And whereas, according to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, 1 in 8 women in the United States will develop breast cancer in her lifetime, and whereas an estimated 43,250 women in the United States lose their lives each year from breast cancer, and whereas on average, every 2 minutes a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer in this country, and whereas currently there are more than 3.8 million breast cancer survivors in the United States, including women who are being treated and those who have completed treatment. And whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend the best way to detect breast cancer is with mammograms every 2 years from age 50 to 74. And whereas the Inglewood Unified School District is committed to prioritizing the social, emotional well-being, health, and wellness for all staff and students and families, now therefore be it resolved, the mayor and council members of the city of Inglewood, California, do hereby proclaim October 22nd as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, presented this 4th day of October. Now, before we get into public comment, I have noticed that since we've gone to the library lecture hall that some members of the public have lost any perspective as to whether or not there are rules of decorum for public comment. Our rules for decorum are ensconced in our city ordinances, and I'm going to read a brief section of it. Persons addressing the council. The primary purpose of oral communications is to allow the public the opportunity to formally communicate with the city council as a whole for matters that cannot be handled during the regular working hours of the city government. Each person who addresses the city council shall do so in an orderly manner and shall not make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks to any member of the city council, city staff, or the general public. Any person who makes such remarks or utters loud, threatening, personal, or abusive language, or engages in any other disorderly conduct which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of any city council meeting shall, at the discretion of the presiding officer, be barred from speaking further and may be ejected from the meeting. Any further disturbance during the meeting may lead to arrest. Now, we have members that think it's cute to make comments that they reference as to the mental acuity of council members. They've made slanderous accusations about behavior of members of the council that are not supported by any fact whatsoever. And this is coming to an end. And so understand this, anyone who engages in this behavior, the mic will be muted and your comments will be done for the day. Now with that, anyone that wants to call in for the open session may dial 888-251-2949 or 215-861-0694. For today, the 4th of October, the access code is 552-1983 #. Wait 3 seconds and press pound again. Operator, are there any callers on the line?
Callers, if you wish to make a comment, please press #2 and your line will be unmuted. We have one caller.
Caller, go ahead.
Anand Desai with S2K Development. Just wanted council to know I'm online.
All right.
There are no callers.
Okay. With that, we'll go to the library lecture hall.
Marvin McCoy. I'm going to be very careful how I proceed because I know how you get down. Nice to see you again. I saw you Sunday in your service Lexus stalking me on Citadel Malvern about 8:15. That was you, and when I made eye contact with you, you drove away. So that seems, I don't want to get kicked out. Melanie McDadish.
She's not on the agenda.
But did I not see you on Citadel
She's-
Malvern? And the
She's
Lexus
not on
service
the.
loaner,
All
that's
right,
true. You
mute
was-
him, please. All right, you can come back later for open comment. Have a seat, Mr. McCoy. Your time is up. Have a seat, Mr. McCoy. Mr. McCoy, if you continue on, you're going to be removed from the lecture hall. Summon a police officer. I'm not playing with you. Are there any other speakers?
Another speaker, Mayor.
Let me get you slipping again on Citadel Malvern.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. I'm looking at the agenda and I see that you're going to approve an economic and community development project. And it's difficult for us to really understand what is going on and what land you are going to exempt from the laws that are already in existence when they're not completely explained within a body of the agenda. I hope
Could you
that-
just get a little closer to the mic and tell us what you don't understand?
Okay. Okay, sure. Okay. So it's, I believe it's PH2. I'm as close
That's a
as I
public
can get.
hearing, so ma'am, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna come back when we call the public hearing, and then you can give your comments. Are there any other speakers for anything on the agenda?
No more speakers, Mayor.
Thank you, Vich. So now we'll close public comment, and we'll go to item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move allow payment.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, successor agency members, and housing authority members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg. Aye. Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Yes, Mayor. The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider an ordinance approving zoning code amendment 2021-003 to amend Articles 1, 7, 10, 10.2, 10.3, 10.3.1, 10.4, 10.5, 10.5.1, 10.6, 10.7, 10.8, 11.1, and 19 of Chapter 12 of the Inglewood Municipal Code to establish regulations for hookah lounges citywide.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manner as required by law? And do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor, notices have been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received, Mayor.
Mr. City Manager, is there a staff report?
Planning manager will give the staff report.
Welcome, Ms. Wilcox.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are my presentation will be up in just a moment, but we are returning from the July 12th, 2022 meeting in which you opened the public hearing on this proposed zoning code amendment related to hookah lounges. Based on additional analysis and discussions with city administration, we have made revisions to the draft ordinance, which I will review. I won't go through the previous background we went through on hookah lounges, but I'm available for any questions you may have. As previously recommended from the Planning Commission, the new and expanded hookah lounges will be subject to a special use permit. By requiring a special use permit, all new and expanded hookah lounges would be presented to the Planning Commission for their discretionary consideration. And this process would allow the Planning Commission the opportunity to apply site-specific conditions if they approve a location. Lastly, the SUP process allows for the Planning Commission determination to be appealed to the City Council as well. The 600-foot separation from youth facilities still remains in the ordinance. The 600-foot distance was selected to be in line with other uses in the municipal code that require youth facility separation, such as liquor stores. And so the 600-foot was intended to match with that same type of standard that's currently in the code. And then the hours of operation recommended by Planning Commission are the same, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. In terms of revised or new regulations, we have added a 1 mile separation from other hookah lounges. And the purpose of this separation would be to prevent an overconcentration of this use. And on this map, it shows where the two existing facilities are, what that 1 mile radius would look like from the existing facilities. And then lastly, the parking requirement has been increased. It was previously 1 to 300, one space per 300 square feet of floor area from the Planning Commission, and we've recommended to increase it to 1 per 75 square feet based on the operational characteristics and the customer length of stay for the hookah lounges. And that concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for any questions.
We're going to open public comment. Any members of the public that wish to comment? We'll go to the phone lines first.
We have 2 callers. First caller, go ahead.
Yes, I'm calling in regards to the councilman, city councilman. I wanted to know why the reason we don't get town hall meeting where constituents of yours can ask questions and not have to call in here, getting upset and everything.
Ma'am.
So why don't we have
Ma'am, this
town hall
is,
meeting?
ma'am, this is for the public hearing.
Yes.
And so what you can do is you can call back at the end of the meeting and we'll be glad to hear your open comments. But right now, this is for the public hearing on hookah lounges. Next caller.
I understand,
Ma'am,
Mayor, but
Ma'am, you're going to have to
I
wait.
understand, but the last time you didn't come back to me.
Okay, operator, make sure we come back to her. Okay, next caller.
Okay,
Next caller, go ahead.
I was again overlooked during the first open public comments. Regarding the hookah lounges, why do we need more hookah lounges? You all have promised that we would not be getting more fast food places. We got more fast food places. all these different things you keep on promising that we're not going to have, so we can actually have positive, progressive development in the city. And you keep on allowing businesses that are not going to be beneficial to the youth, to the elderly, to the citizens in general. It's just unfathomable that we have to keep on requesting and fighting and not being heard whenever we're saying something, that there are certain things that we would like to not have in many more of in the city at all, because it's not healthy for passersby. It's not healthy for the people who are around it. If that's what you choose to do, then I understand that that's the environment. But there are those of us that we're suffering from people. There's no enforcement of the people who are smoking pot and going by in their cars doing that, cigarettes hanging outside of their cars, all these different things. There's nothing being done for our health and to maintain our health and to make sure that businesses that are coming into the city are actually going to be healthy for the environment and healthy for the citizens. And I'd appreciate it if when I have my hand raised that you guys actually call on me instead of overlooking me continually. This has happened numerous times now on a number of meetings.
Thank you, operator. Any other callers?
There are no other callers.
And with that, we'll go to the library lecture hall. Are there any speakers on the public hearing item?
Good
Go ahead, ma'am.
afternoon, City Council and Mayor. I'm speaking on the PH1 regarding the hookah lounges. As a community member, I don't know what a hookah lounge is, and if it could just be described a little more in detail when you give us the agenda so that we can tell you how we feel about it in our comments. Regarding Public Works Department, Economic and Community Development Department, you are exempting from the Surplus Land Act requirements a part of the land of Inglewood, which I don't know where that land is.
Ma'am, is this part of the public hearing? No. Ma'am, I don't think this is part of the public hearing. You'll have to.
Those are my thoughts on the hookah lounges.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any other comments on the public hearing?
Hello, Mayor. Are you going to explain to the caller, to the lady, what a hookah lounge is? Because everybody does not know what hookah
Ma'am,
is.
I'll run the meeting, so you really don't run the meeting, so just next time we don't need that. All right. So that closes public comment. Now, Ms. Wilcox, for brevity, explain what a hookah lounge or a smoke shop is.
A hookah lounge is a location where customers would come and smoke what's referred to as a hookah pipe or a water pipe. It's a specific type of apparatus shown here, and they may buy tobacco products to be used at the facility, but the primary purpose is to smoke those tobacco products here at the site. It wouldn't allow smoking marijuana because it's not permitted.
Thank you very much, and I think that's what everyone wants to know. Public comment portion is closed. Are there any council comments?
Nothing, Mayor. I'll move to affirm the categorical exemption.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
I can introduce Ms. Phillip. Ms. Thompson.
Okay, Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider an ordinance approving zoning code amendment 2022-001 to modify height regulations in the C2A zone citywide.
As a notice of the hearing be given in the time, form, and manners required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor, notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Mr. City Managers or staff report?
Yes, Ms. Minnie Wilcox, Planning Manager, will give the staff report.
Thank you, Ms. Wilcox.
Good afternoon again. This zoning code amendment is an applicant-initiated zoning code amendment request to allow an additional story for hotels in the city's C2A zone. The airport commercial zone. In November 1984, the city established the C2A zone, and the main purpose of this zone was to allow for certain airport serving uses such as hotels and car rental businesses. And within those regulations, the current height limit in that zone is 6 stories or 75 feet, which means any structure built can't exceed 6 stories, and it also can't exceed 75 feet. The only exceptions to this height limit are non-habitable spaces such as elevator shafts or stairwells. It also can't exceed 75 feet. Earlier this year, the applicant requested that hotels be allowed to have 7 stories but still be within the 75-foot height limit. The general reason behind the applicant's request stems from a desire for hotels to have rooftop amenity spaces, such as restaurants and similar facilities. And in August of this year, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the request. This map here shows the locations of the C2A zone within the city, generally along Century and Prairie. And what the Planning Commission recommended is to allow hotels to go to 7 stories, but still keep with the maximum height of 75 feet. In addition, allowances are spelled out in regards to outdoor rooftop amenity space, including that the area can't exceed 5% of the building footprint, that the amenity space be open air, so not a structure, just more of a shade structure. They have to be set back from any building edge that abuts residential uses by 10 feet. These shade structures can be a maximum of 10 feet high, and then any railing associated with it has to be visually permeable to minimize the any additional massing that the shade structure may create. So that's the extent of the recommended changes from the Planning Commission. I'm available for any questions, and also the applicant is on the line.
So what we'll do first, we'll allow the applicant to speak, and then we'll hear public comment, and then we'll have council comments. Operator, is the applicant on the line?
Applicant, if you're on the line, please press #2. Yes, they are.
Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you very much, Ms. Mindy Wilcox, for your excellent presentation. We sincerely appreciate council and city staff for considering our application. We felt that there will be a citywide benefit because allowing this additional story will not only make the code more consistent, since 7 stories equates to approximately 75 feet, but it'll also allow us to house and accommodate rooftop amenities such as restaurants and lounges. By doing so, we are now able to work with more global hotel brands. As a result of this change, we actually found a lot more global hotel franchises that were interested in working with us since there was more amenity space available. So thank you very much for the excellent presentation, Ms. Wilcox. Thank you very much, council members. We sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you. It was so good. Alex played it twice. All right. Is there any public comment? People waiting on the line. Operator.
We still have those 2 callers from previous.
All right. We go right ahead.
They might be waiting for the end of the meeting. Those are the ones.
Those are the ones that for the end of the meeting. Those were general public comment. So let's go to the library lecture hall. Is there any comment on the public hearing?
It would be great if the community would know who the applicant is. Is he associated with the Forum or the SoFi or the Clippers? already building, or is this another entity?
I think he identified himself.
He identified himself in the beginning, ma'am.
He did not. He did not.
Go right ahead, Ms. Davidson.
Hello, Mr. Buzz. Do we know the locations of the hotels, or is this gonna be citywide?
Citywide.
This is a citywide.
It would
Actually, it's
apply
along
in
the
just the
corridor, right?
C2A zone.
The C2A zone.
Hmm.
All right, the C2A zone. With that, we'll close public comment. Are there any council comments?
I think,
Go
ahead, Dion, please.
I just wanted to thank you, Ms. Wilcox, for that presentation, and I'm so happy that we are able to accommodate the hotels in that vicinity because they do need to be able to compete with some of the other hotels, more popular, well-known hotels. So I think adding that extra amenity space is going to be really great for the hotels. It's going to allow them to maximize their support for customers that are interested in staying at those hotels. And then overall, it benefits the city of Inglewood. So I'm looking forward to being at those hotels once they're built with the rooftop spaces. So yeah, I'm just glad that we were able to accommodate them. And thank you so much for that report.
And Mayor, I was just going to add just
Okay.
2 lines, and I was just going to say that the same thing, that this is obviously something that we're improving because it's outdated. But aside from that, folks that are looking to invest in properties that has gone up in value so much, when they're looking to be creative with the space, that extra amount on top makes it valuable to them and makes it feasible. So this is going to make a big difference in starting to really develop our corridors for hotels. So that's all I wanted to say.
Well, Councilman Morales, you're really on point when you talk about investment. The reality is that all the properties have gone up drastically in value, and those properties, and the way it reads is the CA2 Airport Commercial Zone citywide. And the reason why this is necessary, one, to make properties that are developed more competitive with the LAX corridor properties, and secondly, to make the investment worthwhile at the escalating property values. So I move to affirm the categorical exemption.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Yes, council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Move to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. And I'll introduce it. Consent calendar, items 2 through 7.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR1.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and city council members adopt a resolution of the city council for the city of Inglewood declaring the public property exempt from the Surplus Land Act requirements.
Move 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR2.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members affirm a categorical exemption, EA-CE-2022-103, in compliance with the California Environmental Act, Quality Act.
Move 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR3.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members approve the proposed advanced funding and reimbursement agreement for Caltrans Landscape Maintenance Agreement, West Side 405, between the city of Inglewood and WOW Media, Inc.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. 01.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members adopt ordinance number 22-18, establishing pay range assignments and conditions of employment for fiscal year 2022 through 2023.
Motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
Move adoption.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. There was no closed session. A2.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no oral reports from the city attorney's office.
CM1,
No oral reports from the city manager's office?
CC1.
Yes, Mayor, real quickly, thank you so much. In regards to Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I just wanted to give my heartfelt prayers to Dr. Torres. I read her exiting letter, and I wanted to just let her know that she will be in my continued prayers. Also wanted to let our residents know that October 5th, tomorrow, our drop boxes will open at the following locations. We have Edward Vincent Park, Inglewood High School, Darby Park, Rogers Park, and the Crenshaw Library, Imperial Library. And then lastly, Mayor, in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month, I would like to close by paying homage to Miss Sonia Sotomayor. She was the first Hispanic to serve on the Supreme Court Justice when appointed by the former President Barack Obama in 2009. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you.
Thank you. There are no appointments to boards and commissions. We're to 1 minute public comment. And please remember the admonition that was given at the beginning of the meeting. Operator, are there any callers? There should be 2.
We have 2. Caller, go ahead.
Yes. Again, I wanted to ask the reason that our council members are not doing town hall meetings, so their constituents can ask questions at the town hall meeting. The last town hall meeting that I attended was for the mother and papa rental and tenants meeting, and Maxine Waters headed that and brought in L.A. County with Inglewood constituents, Inglewood councilman. So I'm wondering why we can't get, we can see signs up for us to vote for them, but we cannot ask them questions. So that's my concern.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Operator, is there another caller?
We do. Go ahead, caller.
Inglewood City Attorney, District Attorney, and the Department of Justice should be aware that the Brown Act has been violated again repeatedly during this meeting. And I wanted to comment. I lowered and raised my hand. You guys passed over me yet again. This is deliberate and discriminatory. As you citizens vote and review the past and current city council meetings, the toxicity, the misogyny, the demeanor, the lack of access, and the continual silencing of women and citizens by Mayor James T. Butts and Councilman Alex Padilla. Also, Butts' lawsuits. They're deliberately ignoring citizens and also withholding information. We've been assessed for lighting streets, sidewalks, trees, which have been ignored for many decades, at least over a decade since I've been here. And they keep saying they're available for calls and emails if they don't respond to them. And they've also said that they are definitely ignoring me. And they've also allowed the chief of police and other administrators to do it. And Jose Cortez has been very rude and hostile. And the city managers and the chiefs of police, they don't deserve the raises that they're getting because they're not actually...
Thank you, ma'am. You're at time. Thank you. Are there any speakers in the library lecture hall?
Yes, good morning, Mayor and City Council. Mayor, I am glad that you started off the meeting with the decorum of City Council and the people who attend the meetings. I'd like to also say that every member who is a mayoral candidate or a candidate for City Council, they signed a pledge to be nice to each other, basically. And that's all I think we should. The great citizens of Inglewood deserve more. They deserve communications with their officers who are in charge of their city, and we deserve to interact with you in a polite manner. My last thing is to Mr. Dobson. Councilman Dobson, a few weeks ago, you said that the city of Inglewood was really bad, and thank God for Mr. Butts. Well, I'd like to say this. I've been in Inglewood since 1971, and the residents of Inglewood have been great for over 40 years. And we've all been proud of our great city of Inglewood, no matter what any other city thought of us. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and this is Angelique Johnson, your future mayor of Inglewood. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Are there any other speakers?
Hello, council. I would like to know from Mr. Dotson, are you in favor of funding the Inglewood Transit Connector? I see that we're still giving money and we don't have all the money, but the city is still giving money for the Transit Connector. I was wondering what your thoughts were on the Transit Connector project.
Are there any other speakers?
No other speakers, Mayor.
With that, we'll close public comment. And we'll go to mayor and council remarks. Councilman Dotson, District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to tell Dr. Torres I will be praying for her and get well quick. The other thing is that I want to tell the seniors, why don't you come out tomorrow and join us for our luncheon? I think you'll enjoy it. The food's always good, so come on out and partake in your lunch. I think the lady said something about, what did she say? About,
If you're in support of the Transit Connector ITC.
well, that is something that I have to leave to a higher authority than me. So with that, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
thank you very much.
And I believe what he means by that is something that the council votes on each phase by phase. So a single council member or the mayor cannot decide whether the project goes forward. And the reality is that it has been funded for every portion that we have done, the planning, the EIR, the monies for consultants to go out to bid. All those monies have been received and they haven't cost the city a dime. And the reality is this: if all the funds were not received from the state and the federal government, then we would halt the project where it stands. And we would not be obligated to return any funds as long as the funds were all used for a transportation-related concern. And that's why it amuses me that people are so short-sighted as to try and use the city's boldness to prepare itself for the future as some type of weakness. So here, once and for all, yes, it's being funded piece by piece, but no, we're not obligated for return of any funds if it doesn't go through. I hope that's the last time I hear that. Councilman Padilla, District 2.
Thank you, Mary. And just to piggyback that, the Inglewood Transit Connector project is something that I think if you looked at the votes on every time we voted, it's unanimous. Hint, hint, whether we support it or not, it's unanimous. We support it. I just want to say thank you to our Public Works folks. They're continuing to move diligently with our contractor on the Centinela Street Improvement Project. You start seeing overnight, they're doing work right now on Centinela from La Cienega to La Brea to put the final coat of the street. And once we complete that in the next few days, we'll start restriping that portion. We continue to work on the portion going east on Centinela from La Brea to Florence. And I want to again thank everybody for your patience. I know at times it could be frustrating. I know at times some of the surrounding neighborhoods might get a little bit more traffic, but please bear with us. 100% guarantee you at the end, you're going to really enjoy the results, and we will improve our traffic flow, as well as how beautiful Centinela is going to look. I also want to touch on the hookah lounge thing. You know, this city's moving. There's a lot of things that we have to take into account as we progress with the city, and same thing with the hotel, adding one extra story. You know, Inglewood is a city, as we've always said, on the move. right? Inglewood is improving for all the right reasons. And as part of that, we work together with our staff, with our planning department, our planning commissioners, to make sure that we're making the moves appropriately in a timely manner so that the city and our community benefits from these positive changes. That being said, on a different note, again, I'd like to thank Dr. Erica Torres. She is our school administrator. I want to thank her for her many years of service and her commitment not only to our community, but more importantly to our schools and to our children. She has been a tremendous supporter of moving our school district forward. And I know that she's going through some medical challenges for her health. And I congratulate her on making the decisions that's best for her and her family. And I wish her nothing but the best. And just know that you always have us here in Inglewood as part of your family. That being said, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Councilwoman Dion Falk, District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to first just acknowledge our Public Works Department, Code Enforcement, Angela, Cinder, Anna, Jerry, Lewis, Chris Jackson for assisting me. I know, right? When I start speaking, sorry.
I'm sitting here calling all you guys.
Assisting me with, just doing a drive of District 4 and being able to be in a car, identify issues and improvements that I want to make, long-term improvements in the city. And we just have the best staff here. They always make themselves available for us. And so we were able to go out last week and just identify some improvements that we're constantly doing in District 4, trying to make it a better district for the residents. So just want to acknowledge the hard work of our team here. And again, thank you for everything that you're doing for our residents in District 4. I also thank you, Madam City Clerk and Councilman Padilla. I also want to acknowledge Dr. Erica Torres's departure from Inglewood Unified School District. I started about a year before she did there. She's been there for about 4 years, and I worked hand in hand with her, and she mentioned to me yesterday when I talked to her that she was stepping down, and she's just been such an amazing leader for Inglewood Unified School District. I don't know how we will replace her. I really don't. She's an amazing person, hardworking. She wants nothing but the best for those kids. And so we wish her well. She's having some health challenges. We wish her well. And like Councilman Padilla said, we acknowledge and we want her to feel good about putting her health first. So we're with you, Dr. Torres, and anything you need from the city of Inglewood, from one of your council members here, we have your back. We're with you. Lastly, I'd like to acknowledge 3 deaths in District 4. The first one is Christopher Lanford. He was a devoted son, brother, and friend. He had his funeral services last Friday. I want to extend sincere condolences to the Lathern family. Also, Mr. Teddy Johnson. He was a long-term resident. Want to extend sincere condolences to the Johnson family. And lastly, Mr. Thomas Davis also passed away in District 4. He was a very active Second Avenue Block Club member. And want to extend sincere condolences to the Davis family as well. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Morales, District 3.
Thank you, Mayor. Just some brief comments. I just want to mention, I know one of the callers said they wanted to ask us questions via a town hall meeting or something like that. And I have to say, both my colleagues and myself are extremely accessible. So I don't know, everybody by choice does their meetings however they want, but what she can do is call us at the office. And we usually are really good at picking up the phone and talking to all the residents or returning the call pretty quickly. So they can call 310-412-5320. So I just wanted to mention that. And also, I wanted to take the time to just say, for Dr. Torres, that our thoughts and prayers are with her. Couldn't imagine how difficult it was yesterday when she called us to let us know. And, she carried a big responsibility here for the city of Inglewood. And throughout that time, she was also carrying that bigger responsibility for her family and her health, really. And I'm just amazed at her strength. I want to thank her for all the time she put in here. And we just it's a reminder of what's important. So just my thoughts and prayers. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, I briefly want to go back to the ITC. I have noticed that where we have come to in the evolution of our city and politics is that the complaints now are of thinking too boldly, thinking too grandly. There is no city of 9 square miles, 115,000 people, that could ever consider assembling $1.4 to $1.5 billion to build a much-needed connection between the Metro line and our sports entertainment district. It's just inconceivable. And the fact that we are doing it and so far have not spent a dime of city money is an amazing thing in and of itself. And we actually have people that want to run for office that pride themselves on denigrating the city reaching for the stars. But that's where we've come to. Because you can't say the streets aren't paved. You can't say the sidewalks aren't redone. You can't say the trees aren't trimmed. You can't say the crime hasn't gone down because it has. So now we criticize reaching for greatness. I find that amusing. I want to say that Dr. Torres was the longest lasting county administrator. We've had state administrators, and she's a county administrator. And she's the longest lasting, and she was the most committed, very smart, all the time dealing with a life-threatening condition. As much as I admired her then, I admire her more now. And we just give you our thanks for the time that you spent, and we just all wish you the best. And with that, I'm going to close the meeting in the name of Christopher Langford, Teddy Johnson, and Thomas Davis, and we're adjourned.